What up, guys? Today we have a question from Chris, who's been training jiu-jitsu for a few years now, and he says that he has a lazy jiu-jitsu problem. He says that when he is fighting for takedowns, trying to finish submissions, he gives up too easy, and he says especially when it comes to getting his guard passed, he'll fight a little bit, but he'll just roll over and sort of die, settle on his back, allow someone to get chest to chest and smash him down. And so he wants to be more aggressive, because he sees that as the cure to his lazy jiu-jitsu problem, and he's wondering if I have any tips on how to do that. So, Chris, thanks for the question, bro. So check this out. I imagine, just a hunch, you don't actually have a lazy jiu-jitsu problem. You're not lazy. You've been training jiu-jitsu for a few years now, according to your message. You're putting in a lot of work. I imagine you're probably exhausted like the rest of us after a good rolling session. You probably have your heart thumping during training, right? It's not a lazy problem. What's going on is you probably have not been trained to not accept these positions, right? And this is something that has to be trained with your coach, or it's something that I'll tell you how to do it in just a minute, that you can do in your gym, and you can train yourself to do these things. So an example, though, is it with wrestling, right? Wrestling teaches you to never let your back touch the mat, right? We're ingrained from the moment we step into a wrestling room. Ambulance. Hope the person's okay. So we're trained from the moment we walk into a wrestling room to not let our shoulders touch the mat. If your coach is even showing a move, if your shoulders are anywhere near the mat, you get chewed out for it. We never let it happen. And so when a wrestler then comes over to jiu-jitsu, they do not accept that position. And until they've been training for a little while. I speak from experience. You put a wrestler on their back, what do? They pop up really fast to their feet or to their knees. They don't want to be on their back. It's a trained response. They do not accept that position. On the flip side, they'll go to turtle all day long. They'll turtle up on their elbows and knees or whatever, basically the down position from wrestling, and they'll get choked out left and right. Again, speak from experience. So they don't accept that position. And so what you've got to do, Chris, is you've got to train yourself to not accept these positional battles that are happening, or some of these weaker sides to your game where you're not trying to really go for something, right? So for instance, when you're going for the takedown and someone defends and you need to start scrambling. You can't just give up. When someone is defending your submission, you can't simply just stop, right? You have to keep fighting for it. And when someone's passing your guard and you run into a little resistance, you can't quit. You have to fight tooth and nail the whole way through. So to give you an idea of what to do, we'll call it Stoic Jiu-Jitsu today. So there's a quote from Seneca, the Stoic, who says, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive," right? That's a really good quote for pretty much anything, jiu-jitsu or otherwise. But I share that with you because this is something that I've done in my jiu-jitsu multiple times, right? Now, you could be like me and be a geek and journal because, that's one of the ways that the Stoics would prepare for the coming of troubles, right? They would sort of talk themselves through things, essentially having a conversation with themselves in a journal. You look at Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, it's literally a huge chunk of it is him talking to himself about trying to improve in whatever area of his life he wanted to, right? So you can consider like that. I'm an avid journaler myself, right? That said, you don't have to necessarily journal. You can just think about this before you're coming into the gym and prepare yourself for those battles that you know are coming, right? To prepare for the coming troubles. So an example that you might relate with is that when I was a white belt and I was coming from wrestling, did not like being in the position, did not like being on my back, when people would pass my guard, I was running into that same issue where I would fight a little bit and I would just get frustrated with the whole situation. I would lay on my back and let people just smash me afterwards. Sounds familiar, right? Well, so what I did is I hated the situation. I hate that I was letting it happen. And to give you an idea of my inner dialogue at the time, I remember walking out of the gym some of those days thinking, you're being a bitch. Because I was just giving up. And I knew I was giving up. I wasn't fighting as hard as I could. I was accepting the position. And so I remember at some point, I don't remember exactly when, but I remember at some point I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to fight this position 100%. And if this person passes my guard, they're going to earn it. They're going to have to flatten me on my shoulders. They're going to have to earn this position, and they're going to have to use a lot of energy to get there because I'm not going to accept it. And when that little weak side of myself, that little voice pops up that says, hey, Chewy, just let him pass, just give up. I was going to fight it with, my own, shut the hell up. We're fighting this position, right? And so those things happened. I anticipated the fact that I was going to run into those positions. My triceps were going to be tired. My arms are tired. I'm breathing heavy. And there's that little voice inside of me just saying, give up. And again, fought against that voice, kept fighting. And again, I wasn't batting for 100. I was still getting my guard passed occasionally, but I was having more success and was getting my guard back at some points, right? So again, I noticed improvement from doing that. And so that would be my suggestion to you, is that what you need to do is you need to focus on these points where you think you're being lazy, right? And accepting these situations. You're in your first few years of jiu-jitsu, that guard passing battle, that's a really important one. Guard passing is one of the most important battles to win in jiu-jitsu. That gives the top person access to, side control, mount, and all the dominant positions. And for you, your ability to stop someone from passing your guard, every time you retain your guard, that then puts someone back in front of you and you can attack them, they get more and more tired and it's very frustrating. So it's very important. It's a very important battle to win. And I would sort of steer you towards that first. Make your goal when you come into the gym, whether you want to journal about this, whether you just want to sort of ruminate on this before training, make your goal to not accept that position. It's not about being lazy or aggressive. It's that you do not accept this position. When someone starts passing your guard, you fight with everything you have. If they start, flatten you out, turtle up, go to do a Grammy roll, do whatever you can. Get up and fight that position the whole way through. And again, that's a mindset thing. Later on, you can find the techniques and stuff like that. But again, if you feel like you're not aggressive enough, it's probably not an aggression thing. It's probably that you're just not accepting, or you're accepting these positions far too easily. And so you have to train that into yourself first. And then, a lot of the technical stuff can help out afterwards. But anyway, that's the idea to chew on, bro. So, Chris, hopefully that helps. Talk to you guys next time.